Welcome to Africa on Arts TV. Each week, Africa will highlight news, information, and views to reveal the true color of the continent. First up is news. Stay with us. The World Health Organization have certified Nigeria and Cameroon to be free of a polio, a crippling disease that usually affects children under 5. The United Nations Health Agency is expected to formally present Nigeria with a certificate and also declare Africa free of the wild polio virus. Nigeria's head of primary health care agency described the achievement as a proud moment for us, as indeed all Nigerians. Cameroon's health minister had on Wednesday announced that the country had been certified free of polio. Health experts in the country welcomed the development but urges caution. For a country to be declared polio-free, it must ensure high immunization cover and prove there have been transmission for at least 3 years consecutive. It should also maintain a surveillance and outbreak preparedness system. At least 13 people have died and several others are missing in a landslide near Ivory Coast main city Abidjan after drainage channel busted for a torture run. About 10 people were hospitalized, and it is said that a provisional death toll is 13 and searching are continuing. The landslide occurred in the area, which saw more than 3 times as much rain between June 12 and 15 than its usual. Abidjan is a home for some 5 million people. Landslide and deadly floods are common in the city during the rainy season, which runs from April until the end of October, routinely costing lives in an informal settlement built into erosion hills. Chinese president has announced that China will cancel interest-free loans to African countries that are due to mature by the end of 2020. He told the Chinese African Summit on COVID-19 on Wednesday that African nations hardest hit by the pandemic will be granted an exemption of the period of debt submission. The Chinese leader also urged Chinese financial institutions to hold a friendly constitution with African nations to work out arrangements for commercial loans with sovereign guarantee. China will work with the UN, WHO, and other partners to assist African response to COVID-19 and do it in any way respect the will of Africa. He said on the coronavirus pandemic, African countries will be among the first to benefit from the Chinese-made vaccine. China will also continue building hospitals across Africa. It will also construct the headquarters of African Center for Disease and Control in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Ivory has sworn in Burundi's new president, taking oath at a careful ceremony in the capital after the 7 days of his procedure. In his oath on Thursday, he pledged to devote all the forces of defending the superior interests of the nation and ensuring the national unity and coherence of the Burundian people, peace and social justice. A 21-gun salute ranged after his signing of the pledge before the 7 members of the Constitution Court. The new president added bringing back the country's refugee camp, bringing back the intellectual in exile so that they can take part in the development in the country, renew ties with the international community so they can help for the development. A Mozambique court has handled jail terms for 24 years to 3 elite police officers and 23 years to another for murder of a poll observer ahead of the national election in October last year. Prosecutor last month has requested an exemplary and several punishments for the 4 accusing of shooting. The men were also ordered to pay a total of $21,000 in compensation with the family, 2 of the colleagues receiving less sentences of the 2 and 3 years each. The killers were caught red-handed after colliding into another car as they fled the scene, allowing police to link the murder of the Mozambique's elite Reaper Invention Unit. The charges were voluntary homicide, conspiracy, foreign and illegal use of firearms. Their lawyer claimed during the trial that the observers were killed in the context of armed robbery. Kenya has defeated Djibouti to get elected to the United Nations Security Council after the UN General Assembly failed to choose between the 2 candidates during the first round. In Tuesday's vote for the 15-member Council Africa seat, Kenya received 129 votes against Djibouti 62. A first-round vote held in the previous day had both countries failing to receive the required 2/3 majority of 128 votes. Kenya now joining Norway, Ireland, India and Mexico, which were elected on Wednesday as non-permanent members for the 2-year term starting on January 1, 2020. The East Africa country Kenya will replace South Africa. In previous years, ambassadors from all UN member states held gather in the vast UN General Assembly chamber to vote the secret vote, but the coronavirus pandemic forced the world body to adapt new rules. To avoid a large gathering and ensuring physical distancing, ambassadors wearing masks were given time slot for voting and separate out time chamber to make their votes. The United Nations Security Council have 5 permanent vote-willing members: China, France, Russia and the United Kingdom and United States, and 10 elected members with seats allocated to region group and 5 new members elected every year. It is only UN body that only make legal binding decisions such as imposing sanction and authorized the use force. In 1991, the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of then OAU instituted the Day of the African Children in memory of the 16th June 1976 students' uprising in Soweto, South Africa. At the time, the students marched in protest against the poor quality of education they receive and demanded to be taught in their own language. The Day of the African Children serves to commemorate these children and the brave actions they took in defense of their rights. The date was chosen to celebrate the bravery of the thousands of South African children who took to the street in the Johannesburg township of Soweto in 1976 on the 16th of June. The date was chosen to celebrate the bravery of the thousands of South African children who took to the street in Johannesburg township Soweto on the 16th June 1976 to peacefully protest the inferior education accorded to them by the apartheid government. Hundreds of them were shot deadly by the police. Today, it is an observance that celebrates all children of Africa and calls for all commitment toward addressing the numerous challenges they face. Like every year on the 16th June, the African Union and its state member observes the Day of the African Children as commemorate of the student, to celebrate the children of Africa and call for a serious introspection and commitment towards addressing the numerous challenges they face in Africa. The Day of Africa Child 2020 theme will reflect on access of the child-friendly justice system in Africa as adopted by the African Union Executive Council. The theme aims to examine various aspects of children-friendly justice system, but the pandemic has highlighted the need of address a series of fault line and fatality that have exposed increased danger and risk for the moment vulnerable, increasing children. Due to the current COVID-19 crisis, the commemoration of the event at the continental level has been done through a web banner which aims to examine the element of child-friendly justice system, including the application of children right-based approach and use of 4 principles of children's rights as a tool for realizing access to children-friendly justice system in Africa. The webinar is also aims to creating a platform for a dialogue among children, policymakers, organizations working on children's rights, and the academics on the major challenges in ensuring equal access to children-friendly justice to all groups of children in Africa. It will further serve as an experience sharing forum where positive trends, mechanisms, and structure in member states that have been discussed. Experts warn that the current crisis might undo decisive progress in children's rights, putting millions of girls at great risk in violence, abuse, and explosion. They note that besides losing out education, girls, particularly in poor and marginalized communities in Africa, are facing heightened risk of hunger, child labor, trafficking, early and forced marriage, and female genital mutilation. On the continent already battling food security, climate change, conflict, and economic downturn, the virus is amplifying existing inequalities and affecting the long-term environment in which African children will grow up. The far-reaching effects of COVID-19 are putting top-level scientists, economists, and policymakers to task in connection efforts to save the system. Here it is hoping they will remember that a whole generation of African children is at risk being left behind. This is for today. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also subscribe our YouTube channel, Arts TV World. I'm your host, Bethlehem Baharan. Till next week, stay safe.